Okay, is this on? Hey everyone, we have yet another Gundam SEED Master Grade for this video. You guys voted for this on the build stream and I honestly thought the Aegis would have won, because personally I think it's more interesting with the transformation and stuff. But this did win by a landslide, so here it is, the Master Grade Aile Strike Gundam Remastered. Starting with the box, we see an illustration of the Strike Gundam flying in space with the Archangel in the background. Honestly, I find this illustration to be a bit lackluster. It just looks so dim or something. Of course, we get the two identical sides showing the cropped box art. On this side of the box, we have a section of details about the Aile Strike, all in Japanese though. It shows a front and rear view of the completed build, as well as the model's inclusions. We got the Aile Striker pack, the armaments, some close-ups of the sculpted details, the special gimmicks they designed into the kit, the included markings, the pilot figures of Kira and Mulaflaga. Pretty cool that they give you the option between the two pilots in the anime. On the last side, we have a bunch of Japanese text again, and they show off the Master Grades in their Gundam SEED line. Then we can see the Master Grade Aile Strike on a display stand in the design of a launch pad. And just a bit of a spoiler, this kit does have that included in the box. I love me some not sold separately accessories, so this is a very welcome inclusion. Also, it's very much like the Zeta Gundam 2.0. Opening the box, we get 6 packs of runners, and the base of the launch pad isn't packed in a bag. It has a total of 14 runners, including the runners for the beam saber effect parts and the polycaps, and it feels pretty funny to see polycaps again. For markings, we get a sheet of sticker decals, a smaller sheet of dry transfer decals, and an even smaller sheet of foil stickers for sensors. The instructions come in booklet form, and it tells you which runners you'll need for specific sections of the build. It has some Japanese text about the lore of the Strike Gundam in the first page, as well as the colored centerfold. At the back, it has a front and rear view of the completed Aile Strike Gundam Remastered. It looks like a pretty fun build, and it definitely was, especially since you guys were with me on the stream, yapping about favorite Gundam animes and designs while I snapped things together. I built the kits a review live here on YouTube every other Tuesday. The next kit is gonna be the Master Grade Aegis Gundam, so subscribe if you want to join the chat the next time I go live. Here's the Master Grade Aile Strike Gundam Remastered, all built up with no painting, panel lining, or decals, just some sensor stickers to make those areas pop more with color. As far as an RX-78-2 Gundam clone goes, I think the Strike Gundam looks pretty cool. I think it gives off a Power Ranger or superhero vibe on top of the Gundam coolness. Now, going through everything you get in the box, it has a very good amount of accessories. Aside from the usual Gundam stuff, it comes with 2 daggers called Armor Schneiders that are stored in the side skirts. And what makes this the Aile Strike instead of just the Strike Gundam is the Aile Striker backpack. This is also where the beam saber handles are stored, and the striker pack has an additional accessory of its own. It has the battery pack that the strike needs when it's in the perfect strike or the other multiple strike forms, because those weapons need some extra juice. Now, the main character Kira doesn't really use those forms of the Strike Gundam. They're primarily used by Mulaflaga, a tall, handsome man supporting character, when Kira no longer uses the strike. And we do get a whole other set of pilot figures for Mulaflaga. You can recreate his perfect strike if you get the Bandai expansion set for the other equipment. And by the way, there are specific alternate fingers and some adapter parts left over the runners, specifically to be used with that expansion set. Unfortunately, I don't have that set, but it does exist. For the last thing you get in the model kit, and what I think puts this in my top 10 favorite Master Grades, is the display stand you've been seeing that mimics the look of the Archangel's launch pad. I just love it when kits come with immersive accessories like this. I mean, look at it. It even has the USB charging cable for the Gundams before they launch off. And this isn't even a premium Bandai exclusive like the other striker packs. They made this a regular, easy to get, not very expensive Master Grade kit. The Freedom 2.0 and the Justice do have their own action bases, and I think that's the bare minimum for what should be included in every model kit box. But a launch pad? Man, I'm just a sucker for this kind of immersion. If you're sleeping on older kits just because they don't have the latest and greatest internal mechanics or intricate panel separation, you are missing out. Here is the Master Grade Aile Strike Gundam Remastered beside other stuff from my collection. The Real Grade RX-78-2 version 2.0, the Pliobot Gurren Lagann, the Master Grade RX-78-2 version 3.0, the Master Grade Sazabi Ver.RM, some Gundam Gashapons, my fake plant, some Master Grades that also have special display bases, the Gundam Mark II version 2.0, and the Zeta Gundam 2.0. And my previous most recent reviews, the Master Grade Freedom Gundam 2.0, and the Justice Gundam. The Strike has a bit less surface panel detail compared to the newer Gundam SEED kits, but it still doesn't look half bad. Plus, you get the really cool launch pad to display it on. This is definitely a must build for Gundam SEED Master Grade fans. Before we talk about the articulation, if you've found this review of the Master Grade Aile Strike Gundam Remastered enjoyable or helpful so far, please leave a like below. And if you watched more than one of my videos, please consider subscribing. It would really help a lot. Thanks. Okay, so let's check out the joints of the Aile Strike Remastered. The joints on this kit aren't the most dynamic, but they're definitely very solid. Starting with the head, there's a hinge and a ball joint, so you can get it to look down this far, look up this far. Because there's a ball joint, of course, it can go all the way around. The shoulder joints are pretty cool. It can hinge in this direction outward, and it can also hinge upward. So you can get the arm up this high. And yeah, it hinges in and out at the upper arm. Of course, can go all the way around. The shoulder armor also hinges up and down. It also has these hinging latches for the expansion set for when you want to put the other striker packs on. And then the upper arm can swivel. We have a double jointed elbow, gives it a nice full bend. And the wrist is a ball joint, as well as the thumb. Now for the torso, the base is a ball joint, but you can't really go all the way around because the armor pieces kind of hit each other. But we do have an ab crunch, that's pretty good. And we get some side to side tilts. And on the back there's slight movement with this thruster. And for skirting armor, the back skirts are joined together and they flap fully up and down. The side skirts are kind of complex. They hinge down here, but it can also fold like this. It's kind of different. And we have the storage for the daggers. The front skirts are on a hinge ball joint combo, so you can get them out of the way this far. So the most pose hindering skirts are the side skirts, because it gets in the way of moving the leg outward or even just up sometimes. The hip joint can shift downward. You can see here this hip is lower than that. And with that hip joint combo, you can get the full front splits and an almost full side split. Just because the side skirts start to get in the way. And if you push it even more, the side skirts can pop off. And for the knee bend, we have a mechanism that makes this kneecap part move independently, which is pretty cool. And there's the full bend. For the ankles, we got a ball joint here and at the base of the foot. You can kind of wiggle it all around. And then the ankle armor is actually just clipped onto the back of the ankle, so it doesn't hinge up and down. But here's the foot fully pointed down. Then we have a toe bend for nice ground poses too. But here it is with the normal foot just pointed up. Now let's take a look at the backpack. There are also a lot of moving parts on this thing. So the wings can flap up this far, but only kind of level downwards. Because if you keep going, it takes the peg out of the whole backpack. The wings also have these flaps. I don't think it's necessary because nobody will really notice it too much, but it's nice that it's there. These beam saber holders are all in ball joints, so you can just wiggle them all around to where you need them to. Same with these really big thrusters down below. They're on ball joints. And you can see there's a fair bit of detail inside those thrusters as well, even here in the smaller ones. This packs a lot of detail actually. You can also shift some stuff in and out. You can move the wings back. That opens up the slot for the optional battery pack for the perfect strike, and you just slot it in there and that's how it's gonna look. You close that if it's in default mode. And then there's also this movement which moves the thrusters forward or the whole top half back, and that's different from the other mechanism too. I'm not sure what that other movement is. Maybe it's another thing for the expansion set. And I guess we can talk about the base that's included in the kit. It actually has a fair amount of moving parts. So the main part here, of course, is the arm stand. There are 4 adjustable settings that you can just plant that bar into. And of course, when you mount the Gundam, it's gonna make it lean more and more forward as you do that. And you can also set it all the way down. And we also have these, I guess we can just call them foot platforms. And they just move front and back on a track. They also have the back ankle braces, which kind of help the Strike Gundam from toppling back, even though it is strong enough to stand up on its own, even with the backpack on. And we have the charging cable. I just removed it because it was kind of annoying me. You simply slot in the cord into this part of the base, and you lock in the wires at the back like so. And there you go. They do plug in to the back. You could pull the cord to make it shorter so that it's not pushing on the Gundam. The cord is pretty sturdy and it holds its shape a lot. So if you don't want to bend it too much, you can just pull on the cords to make it shorter. Makes it a bit more convenient. So this whole model kit has a lot of different pieces and moving parts to make use of, and you can set them into all different sorts of configurations to suit your display needs. And again, the joints are pretty solid, so it's pretty fun to put this in different poses. I think the Master Grade Ailstrike Remastered has really good articulation. It's not going to be able to do super dynamic anime style action poses, but you get very reliable joints. They're flexible enough and sturdy enough to pull off both ground and flying poses, especially its signature Ailstrike pose. And I think flying poses are going to be my default for this model since it has the wide backpack, which has wings and thrusters to emphasize the direction of movement you want it to pose in. That said, even with a huge backpack like this, it can stand up straight with virtually no tendency to pull a smooth criminal. And we can't forget that it comes with its own huge launch pad that adds to the whole scene of it. Honestly, the mounting point on it isn't the most customizable, so you won't get to tilt the Strike Gundam fully sideways on this. But because the mounting point on it is fixed in that position, there's going to be less room for error, and it's going to be a very secure connection. It's very reliable, and I think that's the main characteristic of this whole model kit. You can display this and not worry about any of the limbs sagging down after a while. Of course, it's good practice to not abuse the joints on your model kits. You can definitely have a Strike Gundam displayed in a cool pose. This Master Grade is a solid choice for both beginner and long-time builders. It's a nice and basic Master Grade build for newbies. And if you noticed, it's not only sturdy, but it's also a really good canvas for builders that like to customize and fill in some surface details. I don't usually include prices in my reviews anymore because I think whatever the price is for any collectible, it's always going to be up to you to make sure you're not in a financial situation that getting any collectible will ruin your life. But my point is, for this Ailstrike Remastered, generally it's one of the Master Grade kits that are on the cheaper end. So if you list down all the good things about this model kit, you're gonna get a pretty good bang for your buck. It has good visual detail, sturdy construction, and you get the premium launch pad already included in the box. So overall, this is a really good deal, I think, regardless of discounts. It's just an all-around good Master Grade. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, leave a like below. If you want to see more model kit builds and reviews like this, don't forget to subscribe. I'll be building the Master Grade Aegis Gundam soon. If you want to chat and yap with fellow builders, we have a Discord server where we share our builds and stuff. We got some new builders, some seasoned builders. It's a place you can interact with cool people. The Discord link is down in the description. And if you want to support the channel more, thank you. There's a link to my Patreon page down in the description as well. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.